Hey, metal scholars. Well, it's here, right? I mean, Even In Arcadia has been released. It's been a couple hours, and I've listened to Look to Windward. That beginning, Vessel repeating, "Will you halt this eclipse in me?" Just like a beautiful mantra. Here is in G minor. Well, actually, tune half a step down, so it'd be like, "Will you halt this eclipse in me? Will you halt this eclipse in me?" E flat. "Will you halt this eclipse in me?" It is beautiful. It is repetitive, like a prayer. It's very similar to chokehold in a way, right? Even like the chord, I think the atmosphere is similar to chokehold. It's the opening track, Look to Windward, and then you begin to research, and it's like, this has been uttered before. I think this first song is a threshold, right? It's that moment where you realize that the shadow is coming. So it's very similar to Sundowning. It's getting darker, and you see more and more shadows, and the darkness is coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop the night. Is this the beginning of a new cycle? Are they kind of mirroring Sundowning now, a new trilogy, or just a new echo? So it's similar, but the track parallels The Night Does Not Belong to God and Chokehold, which are openers for other, and also Atlantic with the T.S. Eliot reference, right? I mean, the wasteland. There are references to all of the openers. It's got purpose, right? I mean, it's something that they wanted to do. I mean, the artwork, there is similarity, connection, because that's the theme and the motif of Sleep Token, right? I mean, everything's an echo of something that's already happened before. We are a product of what's happened in the past. So I think the title is this sci-fi meets modernist poetry, so very fancy. And if you look it up, it's a direct reference to T.S. Eliot. Like I said, the famous poet. You have an amazing poem called The Wasteland, and I think it's one of the greatest poems of the English language. So check it out. But the passage specifically that refers to this is the part where T.S. Eliot wrote, "Oh, you who turned the wheel and looked to windward, who was once handsome and tall as you." So this to me shows that, Vessel is saying, dude, we're all going to perish. We're all going to wither and wilt. And now it's time for you to be aware and for you to carpe diem, because the moment is fleeting, right? Everything that we do, like I said before, is an echo of the past. So look to your past, look to your friends and relatives who are here, but also study people who were here before you, before us, and learn from these experiences. But mind you that time's ticking for everybody. So, and you might fall under the abyss of apathy and lethargy, right? So that's basically what the album is bringing. Are you feeling stuck, drowned, right? And if so, if you are feeling stuck and drowned, then you beg for help, right? Will you haunt this eclipse in me? Will you haunt this eclipse in me? It's very introspective, but at the same time, you reflect, right? You're just like, wow, what is going on here, right? Are we talking about depression, or are you talking about apathy, like I said? Yeah, these are echoes of the past, references from things that happen in other lives and generations. That's why you are an echo in the throat of a dead god. That's exactly what Vessel says. We are all echoes in the throats of dead gods. And that's an amazing book by Gabriel Garcia Marquez called 100 Years of Solitude. And it's this cycle that keeps repeating, right? The continuum. So Vessel is doing the same thing. It's a literary continuum where you have trauma, you have memory, but first and foremost, you have silence. And you have this spiraling feeling. The question is, what do you hear, right? he begs the question. He says, will you listen just as my form starts to fission? It's a very heavy first line. It shows us that vessel is breaking apart. The narrative is breaking apart, losing the war of attrition. Obviously, not in the blaze of glory, but in apathy. Like I said, in lethargy, in numbness. The first track is about the sunset. There's no light here, only shadows. And these shadows, they are longer than a light year, he says. So we're not measuring distance anymore. Vessel is measuring absence, decay, you know? And we've seen this before. If you've been listening to Sleep Token, if you've listened to Sundowning, you know that this is The Night Does Not Belong to God. You know that this is about dark signs and chokehold from Take Me Back to Eden. It's that edge of consciousness. It's that liminal line between presence and erasure. So it's about self-effacement. It's about the shadow that we see on the Sundowning cover, right? Your past self. Even there's a song called Past Self. So it's this time where things dissolve, right? When a new self emerges. So that's the emergence of a new self. Remember when you had that, you've got me in a chokehold, right? You notice that the eclipse is coming and you ask for help. Obsessive thoughts, it's about insomnia. It's about grief. It's about not letting go. But there's this cosmic undertone here. It's embodied, right? Because he talks about his eyelids, right? He says, eyelids heavy enough to break diamonds. Diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky again, kind of like an echo from that poetic flourish. Vessel is consumed. He's tired. He doesn't even know who he is. The man is hiding behind that mask. It's a very complicated duality, as I said before. This duality themes, they keep showing up, right? He says, you pray for sound, I pray for silence. That's dark signs right there. You want scarlet, I want ultraviolet. So two people, different parallels, right? One clings to the noise, the melody, to life, and the other is clinging to death. I mean, it's very sad to say that, but it's the angel like falling. It's like this abyss, right? The violence creeps in. He says, give me the edge of a blade in a time and a place. This to me refers to Sisyphus, right? Sisyphus from like Albert Camus, the story about a guy who pushes a huge boulder up a hill. And that's an amazing myth, and Vessel, in my opinion, is drawing a parallel here. Pushing golden boulders instead of stones. So, I mean, you're pushing something that's super heavy, but people interpret it as something valuable, like made of gold, right? I mean, it's still heavy, it's still a boulder. So he's performing, it's like all the bells and whistles and the glory, but he's suffering. But now he's got a purpose. And then he kind of swerves into the divine again, because he talks about the Garden of Gods. He says that he's the God of gaps. He's the demon of Sodom. He's the blood of an angel. Wow. This isn't just spiritual crisis. This is identity fracture. He's not saying, oh, I'm divine. He's not saying, I've just fallen. He's saying, I'm doing all of this stuff all at once. It's kind of like the electron, you know, I'm here and there. I'm the thing in the middle. I'm the teeth of God. So the divide. I'm a blank space between the mask and the man. And I see the eclipse because the light is, you know, it's getting dark because the mask is just taking over. He says, nobody knows where I came from. Even I have forgotten. That to me is a clear indication that he is referring T.S. Eliot and The Wasteland, because that's about the identity, like the effacement. So it matches the situation, like I said, you know, it's the mask. We don't know who the guy is. We don't know what he likes to do, who he used to be. We just know the conduit, the vessel. And we are obviously focused on the performance. But someone might be worn down in there, right? So he's going to keep begging. The eclipse is coming. Could you stop that? Can you help me stop that? but the question is never answered. It's asked again and again and again. Perfect for a ritual, and it will be live. The mantra, the prayer, and the song will fade into resolution, right? I mean, there's a very heavy part. This part is heavy. I have the bass here. It's cool. Really fun to play, but it's going to take me a couple hours to figure it out, and this is not the main purpose of the video. We are dealing with paradise, right? But even in Arcadia, there I am, sadness or apathy, lethargy, death, the death of a past self. Their story might feel like a paradise, but that means that someone has to sacrifice himself, right? Even in paradise, there's sadness, there's the shadow, there's the challenge of sacrifice. And I don't know if he knows who he is anymore, and neither do we. And that does it for me, Metal Scholars. I'm going to try to analyze each song, and hopefully someone out there will feel like watching. Please check out other videos. I've done 3 videos, the singles. And remember that music is what music does. I'm signing out, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.